It's been 8 months since COVID-19 became a part of our lives in South Africa. Since then, we've experienced its devastating impact on our society. Kim Ludbrook, a professional photojournalist, shares his first-hand experience of documenting this virus.
I work for an international news agency, and as a staff photographer, I've been covering this pandemic from the beginning, which is about 5 months now. And recently I realized that as media, we're not allowed in hospitals to cover the pandemic, and I realized that I think the general public are not seeing the severity of the pandemic. So I decided to look at the life of an undertaker, and one thing led to another, and I ended up documenting AVBOB undertakers for a week. It's one of the country's biggest undertakers, and what was really interesting when I started to delve into that story was that AVBOB was actually formed during and as a result of the last pandemic, which was the Spanish flu 99 years ago. AVBOB started in Bloemfontein. So I spent a week with the Germiston branch of AVBOB, and yeah, even for me as a seasoned photojournalist, it was a really big eye-opener to the severity of the pandemic. So what I did for a week was show the life of the undertakers, which is difficult at the best of times. And AVBOB is basically correctly treating every death as a corona death in terms of the way that the undertaking staff deal with the remains and the burial. And then in that week I covered 2 funerals which were COVID funerals. I obviously asked and negotiated and got the permission from both families to photograph those funerals. So, that was really an important part of my job, I think, as a documentary photographer, to show the public the severity of the virus.
Now, when you're in that environment, what goes through your mind? Do you ever find yourself being intrusive? Do those around you who are mourning find you to be intrusive?
Yeah, good question, Leroy, and it's always, it's a question that's asked of photojournalists and documentary photographers, and it's an important one. I think the way I like to work helps me a lot and the people that I'm photographing. So in this case, you are very nervous at times about picking up a camera, especially at such a difficult moment. However, you also understand that this is an important thing to be doing. The one thing I did realize, though, and wanted to show in my photographs, was how difficult burials are now in the coronavirus time. Not only for victims of the virus, but those who died from other reasons. I found it a very impersonal way to say goodbye to relatives.
Having engaged with so many funerals, so many burials, surely, that's got to take a toll on you.
I saw my own mortality. There is nothing better than hanging out with an undertaker for a week to realize that all of us pass at some stage. All of us will be buried. So that was really an in my face example of, hey, Kim, someday you're going to die. And therefore, just like I think the pandemic's done for me, it's made me look at my own mortality and made me ask the questions of, hang on, what am I actually doing with my life? How can I help others, which is what I want to do? Am I adding to the greater consciousness of the world? Am I doing something for others? Or am I just sitting back waiting for our leaders, our government, or whoever it is to fix things?
Have there been any silver linings that you've seen during your journey?
Oh, wow. Sure, Leroy, many. Over 25 years, I've documented every conceivable part of the human condition. So I've covered civil wars, I've covered the tsunami, I've covered election violence, I've covered droughts. And so what I find when I'm documenting those moments is that the human spirit is incredibly powerful. And I see that in this pandemic, and I see that all the time. And I therefore encourage people to go out there and help in your own small way. And it's also most importantly about, it's not about helping out at a homeless shelter and then posting it on Instagram. It's about your own soul knowing that you've helped others. Sometimes you don't have to carry your medals on your jacket, you can carry them on your soul.
I'm Jenna Dover, and you're watching Joburg Today.